what an infuriating loss for the Atlanta Falcons. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. Apologies for the lack of continuance of the end of the game. We had a power outage here at Chat Sports that lasted pretty much the entire afternoon. Nobody knows why it happened or what happened. And as you can see, my voice is completely cooked. So I will try to get through this as best I can. Please stick with me. I really appreciate it. Now, I want to talk specifically about some of the highlights of today's game, and I want to talk about some of the lowlights of today's game. And there are many, because the Atlanta Falcons should not have lost this football game. But before I get into my full analysis, I have to ask you, who is the biggest to blame for this Dirty Birds loss? I'll tell you my answer. Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson is absolutely the reason you lost this football game. The play calling was so predictable at times in this game. You, me, the Buccaneers, producer Casey's mom, she knew the play call. And still, Zach Robinson ran out, touted the same old pistol offense, and got stuffed on key plays. The offensive play calling was the biggest issue. Defensively, there were some situational football plays that I didn't like. But for the most part, I thought the defense played very well. Let's start with the offense. Lone bright spot, Michael Penix Jr. I thought he played very well. Don't you sit here and try to blame this loss on Michael Penix Jr. He played his ass off. Specifically, on a 4th and 1 actually, where he rolls out to his right on a designed pass play by Zach Robinson. He scrambles out, dives forward, grabs the first down, and then 3 plays later, after another botched play call from Zach Robinson on a half end around to Bijan Robinson, Penix Jr. scrambles his way forward and finds the end zone. Takes the lead for the Falcons. It was almost like Penix was doing everything he could in spite of what Zach Robinson was calling. Penix played great today. Now, are there some things to learn? Of course. He has a tendency to overthrow his wide receivers. He does. But if you told me that Penix's first start of his first full starting season, you were going to ask him to go out and throw 42 times, complete 27 passes, have 298 yards passing, and 2 total touchdowns, I think any Falcons fan would have said he played well. So I'm going to grade his performance as such. A B+. I can't give him an A because the Falcons lost, and there were a couple of plays where he looked like he didn't go through his progressions. He would make the wrong read, or he would overthrow a player. Outside of those little tiny rookie mistakes, Penix played very well. So you let me know in the comment section down below. Here's another thing that I think Zach Robinson can be blamed for. And maybe a little bit of this on the offensive line as well. Bijan Robinson was a non-factor in the run game. Pass game, different story. In fact, I have his passing numbers pulled up for you so you could take a look. Bijan Robinson had 6 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. So all in all, Bijan played well. The ground game was a non-factor in this football game. And that, to me, is the difference. When you can't establish the run game because you're doing the same predictable play style, the same formations, the Buccaneers knew what they were doing every time they lined up in the pistol. It was either going to be a play action, stick route slant to Drake London, or it was going to be a run to Bijan. And they stuffed him every time. 2 yards per carry is ridiculously bad. And I don't even think it was Bijan's fault. The offensive line didn't hold up nearly well enough, and Zach Robinson's play calling was stale. Let's go to Kyle Pitts. Pretty quiet for the most of the game, but I'll give credit where credit is due. The last quarter, that 4th quarter, Pitts showed up. So I can't say it was too awful, but there are some things that I would definitely clean up if I'm Kyle Pitts. There was one specific play call on 4th down. The Falcons didn't get the first. Kyle Pitts didn't even attempt to throw in a block. Not one. There was no effort to block. So, Kyle, a message to you. If you're going to not put in effort on the blocking side, as a tight end, by the way, you need to show up more than just for half a quarter in the 4th. And granted, you played well down the stretch. I need more from you. But 7 receptions for 59 yards is not a terrible stat line. Let's go to Drake London. I thought he did a good job of getting open in short yardage situations. He and Penix could not capitalize in the deep ball game. In fact, Penix's deep ball, in my opinion, still needs a little bit of work. His intermediate passing game, his short yard passing game, is pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm very, very content with what I saw. But now Drake London appears to be day-to-day. So the injuries keep piling up. And there's one other player that I have to talk about that I cannot mention in this Falcons loss without bringing him up. We're going to touch on him at the very end of the video. We're going to hit the defense first. Before I do that, I have to tell you about my friends over at Prize Picks. They are the sponsor of this episode. You and I make decisions every single day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. It is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. Join millions of users and sign up today by clicking that download button. When you download the app, use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Let's talk about the defense real quick. Situationally, I thought there were some things you need to improve upon. Like that last drive where Baker Mayfield throws a post to Emeka Egbuka. You can't lose busted coverage on that. However, for the most part, I thought this Falcons defense showed up today, specifically highlighted by Divine Diablo. He was all over the field, run stopping, pass coverage, surveyor of the middle of the field. He made his presence felt. He showed leadership. He showed being a captain, and in fact, played better than Caden Ellis, who played okay, had some good moments, had some bad. But Divine Diablo absolutely stuck out to me as the best Falcons defender in week 1. A.J. Terrell had moments as well. Had a couple of good PBUs, had a dropped interception. The Falcons, by the way, dropped 3 interceptions today, just to let you know. A.J. Terrell had a couple of busted coverage plays, but for the most part, I thought he showed up as well. I thought maybe in man coverage, he could maybe get a little bit better. Couple plays he did well in man. Zone, he was great. There were a couple of plays here and there, specifically against Mike Evans, where Evans' bigger body just outworked A.J. Terrell. So that's the only area that I would criticize and critique A.J. Terrell. But for the most part, he played well too. Shout out to one of the rooks, Billy Bowman. He played great. Had a sack. Had 3 solo tackles. Was all over the middle of the field. You really saw the versatility. Someone that can play in coverage. Someone that can climb the box. And someone that you can even draw on a corner blitz. Billy Bowman absolutely deserves his flowers today. His first game as an NFL player was really good. And if today was any indication, based off of his coverage, his ability to climb the box, and that versatility that we talked about, Billy Bowman is going to be a special playmaker at nickel corner for the Atlanta Falcons. Before we end today's episode, what needs to be said? You had one shot to tie this ball game. Penix drives you down the field, and you miss. I said the lease was short on Younghoe Koo. It might be even shorter now. Lenny Krieg is in the wings. He's a kicker on the practice squad. He's got a leg. We saw it in preseason. I would not give Koo more than 2 weeks to prove that he is the kicker for this team. Because honestly, his first 2 kicks, his first one went in easily. The second one dropped off the upright and barely went in. And this last one he missed to tie the ball game. You cannot be that bad. It seems like the carryover from last year is bleeding into week 1, especially for Koo, and he needs to sharpen it up. He played bad today. His kicking was bad. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of Falcons Today. I apologize for my vocal sound. I'll try to make sure that I drink some tea and get back to you with a better vocal quality tomorrow. Until next time, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool.